Hey guys, welcome to Quantifiably Bitchy episode 8. I'm your host Raquella, and today we're going to discuss season 1 episode 8 of Hannibal, Fromage, which means cheese in French. So that definitely means we're going to get a little bit of Franklin action today because he's a cheese connoisseur or whatever. But before we get started, I wanted to just go over, normal housekeeping items, but also talk about some cool things coming up. So as always, like, follow, and subscribe. I am Quantifiably Bitchy everywhere without the I in bitchy. I will post it here. I am on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Blue Sky. Follow me everywhere. Talk to me about the show. I want to hear your opinions. Also, in the next few weeks, Brian Fuller's directorial debut, Dust Bunny, is coming out, so that's really exciting. I am super excited to go see it in theaters. I never see movies in theaters, so I will absolutely be making a trip for this. The cool thing is all the press we're getting for it. So recently, in an interview with Mads and Brian, they were talking about Pushing Daisies, which is another Fuller show that you should definitely watch if you haven't already. And they were talking about potentially rebooting it, and I will drop the clip here.
Do you ever consider revisiting those characters in any way?
Absolutely. We have a season 3 pitch, and the entire cast wants to come back, and we're hoping we get to return to them. We just have to find somebody who wants to make it.
The concept that we might get a season 3 of Pushing Daisies is fucking crazy to me and exciting. So I know that basically means nothing, but the fact that there's any interest at all is fucking awesome. And also, I'm a firm believer that if we can get a season 3 of Pushing Daisies, we can absolutely get a season 4 of Hannibal. And that is on the God, the devil, and the great red dragon, okay? You heard it from me first. That's just my opinion, totally out of my ass. But you watch. I'm calling it. I'm sorry. Whatever. But I digress. Let's jump right into season 1, episode 8, Fromage. This episode is so fun. Themes I would love for you guys to think about while we are watching this is friendship and companionship and love. Those things separately and together. Keep that in mind for when we're watching. And we will go ahead and get started. As usual, what is the opening shot, okay? What is this episode starting out with? What is our first impression? And it's Will lying on the floor of his house, fixing a boat part inside, surrounded by his dogs. So, in my opinion, this is a great representation of Will's mental state. Like, why is he working on oily, greasy boat parts in the middle of his living room in his cabin? You can see the bags under his eyes. Very dramatic. The dogs are just chilling. And then he starts hearing this whining sound of this injured creature in the woods. Watching this for the first time made me laugh so hard because Will is lucky that he is not living in, like, Appalachia. He'd just be hearing anything in the woods and he's like, I'm gonna go check it out. And I feel like if you're somebody, who lives in Appalachia or just, like, in ancient, like, wooded areas in the US, you know that if you hear noises outside, like, you just don't go fucking with them. But Will, in his very pristine state of mind, is like, no, I have to go save this animal that I hear crying. His dogs, like, kind of react, but not in a way that you're like, oh, this is for sure real or in his head. It's also the same way we've been entering every episode of, is this real or is this in someone's head or parts of it imagined? Is it in the past? Disorienting, which is classic for season 1. Will runs out into the field around his house and is, like, searching for this animal, this creature that he hears crying. And then the music stops and you just hear nature noises, which is a lovely little detail. That's how you know you're back in reality. That's how you know that there was nothing there, is you just hear quiet and the birds chirping. And you pan out to Will and this tiny little Will in this golden field. Great use of the color gold. Another color that's constantly being used in this universe. And you realize that he is having a hallucination. And then we cut to the string shop where we know Franklin's friend Tobias works. This doesn't look like Baltimore to me. It's a very cute scene. The inside of the place looks very Baltimore and looks like it could be in the city, but the outside is just a little too small town, but it's still very cozy and snowy. And the visuals in this episode, the outside visuals, are really pretty, and there's a lot of snow in them. So we pan to Tobias basically tutoring a kid on how to play, I think it's a cello. And he's complaining about how the strings are hard to play because they're new or they're harder strings. And we find out the strings that Tobias makes are made of what is called catgut. And it's not always made from cats. It can be made from any animal intestines, but it basically is treated and then made into the strings for, like, string instruments, violins, cellos, things like that. And the kid is like, are they really made from cat? And Tobias is like, not always. And then we cut to him killing a man, taking out his intestines and making them into catgut. I love this scene, and I didn't realize it during my first watch, but it is meant to directly mirror Hannibal, right? There is classical music playing. He is making human body parts into something that is not usually what they're used for, right? Hannibal cooks and eats them. Tobias makes them into string instruments. To each his own, I guess. But I do think you're supposed to make this direct connection between Hannibal and Tobias and their similarities and the fact that they make these like beautiful, haunting things out of human body parts. So already we see this connection between Tobias and Hannibal. And there's this montage of Tobias preparing these human guts to make them into catgut for violin strings. And it mirrors when we see Hannibal cooking in the kitchen with human body parts. It's just a very nice parallel visual. And we watch Tobias watching this child play this cello with human catgut, and he's getting this pride out of it, again like Hannibal. And the next scene, these are really good. This is a good Will Graham and Hannibal episode. The next scene, it's Alana and Will searching around his property for this dead animal, and they can't find it. And Alana's like, did you really invite me over here to collect dead animal parts? Like, that's so weird. But also it's one of those things where like, it's kind of that trope where it's like, oh no, I need your help, come over to my house. And it's like, you're the person you're into, and then y'all like get it on, right? It's like a tropey thing. And even Alana is like, is this a date? Weird question. You think he would ask you on a date to search for dead animal parts in on his house? And Will's like, no, this is not a date. I was hearing dead animal sounds and I wanted you to come help. This is a great scene between Will and Alana because I think you see that dominant side of Will start to come out. It's always been there. I think Hannibal brings it out of him the most, but everyone treats Will like he's a fragile baby. Everyone thinks he is so breakable and submissive. But when he is pursuing Alana in this episode, it is very confident and in control, and he is the aggressor. And you see him get offended in the scene with her. They're talking about dating and talking about, you know, oh, well, I didn't think you dated. And he gets offended by that. Will hates that she treats him so fragile, and he pushes back here. He's like, oh, am I too broken to date? And they have this nice little flirty interaction of, oh, you assume I don't date? Oh, you assume I don't date? Just kiss. Alana is interesting too because she's always like, I think too much. Like, it's why I can't be with you, Will. And it's almost this, like, she thinks she's superior, but it's like, baby girl, you are just as broken. Like, get over it. Kiss that man. I don't give a fuck if he was broken. Oh, like, isn't that part of the fun? And then we see Hannibal seeing Franklin for his session. Franklin is upset that they can't be friends, or he is uncomfortable with the fact that he can't be his friend. He starts psychoanalyzing his own friends. Franklin starts trying to analyze them like Hannibal. We find out that Franklin's been observing, psychoanalyzing his friend Tobias, and he thinks he's a psychopath because he did some like online quiz that was like, he checks the boxes of a psychopath. I mean, the funny thing is he wrong? We find out that Franklin has been talking to Tobias, and he has been saying really like dark things and then being like, JK, like, I'm gonna kill that person, JK. And Franklin really wants Hannibal to diagnose his friend as a psychopath, which is so unethical. And not that that's like something Hannibal wouldn't do, but come on, Franklin. And in this shot, we see Franklin with the stag behind him instead of Hannibal. Sometimes they have it in the shot where it's behind Hannibal, but right now it is Franklin, and it's like, oh, what lesson are we learning? Like, what is death looming over him? What does this mean? Franklin asks Hannibal, am I a psychopath? And Hannibal's like, no, but you might be attracted to them. And then we cut down this like drop down shot into the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra. And it is a man with a cello bow in his throat, and you can like play it. This is a crazy prop. It scares me. It's gross, but it is really well done, and you can kind of like stand behind it and play it. This is what the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra looks like. I found this to be a very accurate rendition. I feel like all theaters look the same. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but it does ring true to the actual set, so that's just a fun bonus. We find out the guy that was killed was a trombone player for the BSO, and the killer brought him here to play him like a cello, to put on a show, as Will says. It's always so interesting because when Will comes to look at these crime scenes, he is always wearing his glasses. He always has his mask on before he takes it off. We see Will popping some aspirin. Just important to note. Jack tells him, shake it off, Will, get to work, do what you do best, and analyze this crime scene. Meanwhile, Will is slowly losing his mind. So, A+. A+. He takes his glasses off again and starts analyzing what happened. The lighting shifts, it gets a little bit softer, the same way it does every time, and then we get our nice pendulum moment. And he is transported into the mind of the killer. Hugh Dancy as Will Graham is, I have to say, like one of the hottest men I've ever seen in my life. Every time I stare at him, and every episode, I'm just like, he's hot, he's hot, he's hot. And it's gonna happen until I finish all of the seasons. Will breaks down how this man is murdered, how he opens the trachea, the neck of the cello in his throat. There is powder on the wound, and there's this nice little Beverly shot where she hits the bow in her hand and the resin powder just, it's like a nice little moment. And the murderer wanted to play this guy and create a sound with his throat in front of an audience. His sound. This is my design. Duh. And then he plays the cello on the man's throat. Again, this prop is crazy. I am kind of obsessed with it. Garrett Jacob Hobbs is in the audience, slow clapping with a spotlight on him. The man that played Garrett Jacob Hobbs made his money in season 1. He worked his ass off. And Will sees him playing in the audience and is disturbed. Cut to Hannibal in therapy with Bedelia, explaining how he thinks that he needs to fire Franklin as a client because he is too close to him. And they start talking about referring a patient to another doctor and how they can be complicated because Bedelia tried to refer Hannibal, but he flat out refused, which is an important detail. She did not want to be his therapist anymore. And he's like, I really feel protective of you. It's why I wanted to keep you as my therapist. You support me, and I wanted to support you after what happened. We find out Bedelia was attacked by a patient. We're not given too many details, except for that's when she retired. He was an obsessive patient, allegedly, and Bedelia does not want to talk about this. Once again, she's like, I am your psychiatrist. You are not mine. We don't get to talk about my trauma. Nice try, babe. He tries a lot, though. We find out in the wound, we're back into the lab with the science thruple and Will. We find out there's olive oil in the wound, as well as rosin and a couple other chemicals. And everyone's like, why is there olive oil in the wound? It's so weird. We find out the vocal cords are hardened, which would make them easier to play and get a better sound out of you. And Will is just like brooding in the corner here, saying the most fucked up shit. And even the like the CSIs are like, you good, bro? And Beverly realizes, oh, he treated them the same way you treat catgut string because she is smart as fuck. And she's like, yes, I played the violin. I know what I'm talking about. She always comes in clutch. I love her. She has like a pencil in her hair in this. It's like so science hottie. Women in STEM. Will determines that this is a skilled musician that did this crime, which is interesting because that's going to narrow down your suspects quite a bit. And remember that Tobias has a music shop. And then you see Will and Hannibal talking about the murder, and he is going to his friend to get some advice. And Hannibal's like, music is not good or bad. It just is. Sometimes it's harmonious. Sometimes it's dissonant. Sometimes you never want to hear it again. It's just like a person. And Hannibal, being the genius that he is, was like, oh, is there olive oil in there? Because apparently that's what they used to treat catgut with hundreds of years ago. Like the legit way. Because he is like Tobias, he would know that information. They are similar in their tastes. It's very beautiful. It's very elevated art. The olive oil would help treat the catgut and help it give it like a sweeter, more melodic sound. And Will's like, that's not what I hear though, behind closed eyes, because he's so empathetic. Hannibal's like, what do you see? And he confesses that he sees himself, but in his mind he sees Garrett Jacob Hobbs. And remember, he is being haunted by him. He feels this like murderous joy in him and this confusion and these feelings and about these dark feelings. Will is always battling the darkness, and I think Garrett Jacob Hobbs represents that in these moments, in these delusions, hallucinations. Will thinks that the killer was performing for somebody, but he doesn't know who. Another killer, someone who appreciates music. It's a serenade, because he normally doesn't kill for an audience, but this time he's trying to send a message. He's trying to get in contact with someone. He wants to show someone how well he plays. This episode has a lot of like quick cuts into other scenes. I'm noticing we're just going back and forth between all these characters, because we are cut back to Hannibal in therapy with Franklin. And Franklin is revealing that Tobias is still saying crazy things, including that he wanted to cut someone's throat and play it like a violin. Immediately Hannibal connects the dots. And he's like, this man is seeking me out. This man is seeking me out. He's sending me a note. But he's not sure, so he's like still pressing Franklin about it, but he's like, maybe this message is for me. And Franklin's like, do I have to report it? I'm always wrong. What if I'm wrong now and I fuck up my friendship? And then Franklin's like, why would he say anything like that to me? Why would Tobias say that to me? And Hannibal's like, what do you think? And he's like, because I would tell you, my therapist. The dots are connected. Hannibal's like, oh yeah, no, this message is for me. Interesting. The plot thickens. And you can just see, it's like Mads is making no expression at all, but you can see the curiosity and the joy just a little bit in his face. And you see him going into Tobias's shop. He opens the door and doesn't let the bell ring. He's so clever. He's always thinking 10 steps ahead. Has he met his match with somebody like Tobias? Could this potentially be a friend? Because keep in mind, him and Will are not like officially friends yet. That's an important bit of this episode and something that gets resolved at the end. But right now, he is technically friendless. So he asks Tobias if he only carries catgut or all kinds of strings. He's like, oh, I carry everything. And Hannibal's like, oh, no. I want catgut. In ancient history, they last 2,000 years and still play music. Tobias clocks the fact that the bell didn't ring. He's like, why didn't my bell ring? They're already kind of catching each other on their shit. It's an interesting dynamic. And they're just kind of talking, and you find out that Hannibal plays the theremin because of fucking course he plays the theremin. He likes the way it moves in the pitch, and it has like unconventional notes in it. And Tobias is like, so can the trombone and the violin. You had to pick the most pretentious instrument ever. Love Tobias for that. But then Hannibal's like, oh, I heard the symphony's looking for a new trombonist. This is just like diva on diva crime. Like, Hannibal is just the cattiest bitch. And I love him for it. And they both agree, ha ha ha, the band will be better without that terrible trombonist. Fucking nuts. Hannibal also has a harpsichord, because of course he does. He's so dramatic. I love it. And he's like, please come restring my harpsichord at my house, Tobias. And then we cut to Will making lures in his house, which is a nice little shot here, because we see, Hannibal, he cooks his people. Tobias is making his catgut, and Will is crafting something too here. He does have that similar eye for detail that I guess Hannibal and Tobias have, but he's not making it out of like human parts. He's just being regular and has a regular hobby, but he still possesses those skills of really being able to focus on something small and build something beautiful out of it. Important to note. Oh, I love this scene. So Will hears scratching in the house, in the fireplace, just like how he heard that animal whining earlier. And his dogs are like reacting a little bit, but not enough that it feels real or not. But it's like, it's a trick of the scene where you're like, what's really going on? Are they reacting to Will or the noise? Is it real or not? And he is inspecting his chimney for this animal that he hears scritching around. And then we see Will has knocked this giant fucking hole above his fireplace, with Alana suddenly there being like, yo, what kind of animal was that? And he reveals he didn't find one. It was in his head, maybe. Because again, think about love, companions, finding friendships. We find out Alana stopped by after work. He's like, you have avoided being around me our entire professional career. Why now? She thought she was being so subtle about it, but of course he caught it, because he's Hannibal's soulmate, not Alana's. And then they go in for the kiss. It's a very sweet kiss. This is a good kiss. Hugh Dancy is a really good on-screen kisser, and so is Mads. Mads might be the best on-screen kisser I've ever seen in my entire life. But Hugh Dancy, like the little like nuzzling of the nose into her. And Alana's basically like, I can't sleep with you because the way that I'm in relationships is not compatible with the way that who you are as a human. And I just fundamentally think this is a bad idea. She has more willpower than I ever could. Oh, and he's so hurt. And she's like, I can't do it. I would have done it. I would have done it without a second thought. Without a half a thought. She's like, I'm always going to want to analyze you. I'm always going to want to analyze you, and that's the problem, and you'll hate it. And she's right. Oh, but they still keep kissing. Good for you, girl. Oh. Okay, I'm getting like too distracted by how hot this is. It's a good scene, not just because it's a great on-screen kiss. Will, again, is being the aggressor. He is not being the fragile one. He's saying, I don't need you to tell me what to do. I know what I want, and in this moment, it is you. It is something we kind of see grow in him, his confidence. We see it later more with Hannibal, but we see the glimpses of it here. It's always been inside of him, this kind of aggressive, aggressor, take what I want nature. And it's working for me. What can I say? She is crazy. She is crazy for turning him down. And then we see this beautiful shot. We see this beautiful shot of just Will looking fucking heartbroken with that gaping hole in the chimney. Just the gaping hole in his heart. Just a very on-the-nose metaphor. Visual, gorgeous. Mwah. Angst. And that's the halfway episode mark. Cut to Tobias and Hannibal having dinner. I do like that Hannibal gives Tobias a Virginia wine because that's where Will lives, in Virginia, not Linden, but it's still kind of funny. And he just immediately asks, did you kill the trombonist? And Tobias is like, you really have to ask. You know the answer. It's yes. And he says, Franklin gave you my message. Confirmed that the serenade was for Hannibal. Oh, I bet he loves that. And he's like, the FBI, Hannibal's like, the FBI will catch you. FYI. Tobias is like, of course they're going to investigate me. I own a string shop. But I'm going to kill them. I'm just going to fucking kill them. And he's going to kill Franklin too. Hannibal asks him not to kill Franklin. And I think there is this part of Franklin that still kind of amuses Hannibal. It's interesting that he's trying to spare his life. We learn that we learn that Tobias wanted to kill Hannibal. And Hannibal's like, of course you would. I'm lean. I would make exquisite cat gut. Okay. I love that. And so again, we're seeing that these two are kind of matching each other's energy. They can keep up with each other. They understand each other's references. They appreciate this fine, beautiful art of murder and also music and food and art, you know? Lean animals yield the toughest gut. He's like, when did you change your mind? Do you still want to kill me? It's this very casual conversation amongst like minds that we don't really get to see until this point. But Tobias makes this grave error. He said he didn't want to kill Hannibal anymore because he followed him one night down a dark road and to a bus yard, and he basically watched him kill somebody, and Hannibal is no longer having fun. He's such a Scorpio. He wants to know everybody's secrets, but he wants to keep very much his own secrets to himself. It is not a two-way street. You do not get to see him without his permission, and the permission was not given. He was followed, doesn't like that. Tobias, no longer somebody he wants to be friends with. There is a betrayal of trust here. Not only that, but Tobias is kind of like, I won't tell anybody. I want a friend. But it's still a threat, and Hannibal doesn't respond well to threats. He's not going to be somebody's friend over a threat. Immediately, both men are on the defensive, but Hannibal is just pouring him a beverage, I think. Tobias offers his hand in friendship. Hannibal, I will be your friend. We see the world the same way. And Hannibal's like, I get it, but I don't want to be your friend. He fucked up. He should have never tried to blackmail him or threaten him or spy on him. And Tobias is like, why did you bring me here then? And Hannibal's like, I was going to kill you. It was very much that Spider-Man meme where they're like, and Hannibal is like, oh, don't worry. I didn't poison the food because I wouldn't ruin the food for that. Not because poisoning is bad, but he's like, I don't want to fuck up the food. I don't give a fuck about you, but I'm not fucking up the food. Or, oh my God, I just had a thought. He's like, I don't want to poison it because I don't want to fuck up the food because he can't eat Tobias if he's poisoned. Duh. Just so many layers. The doorbell rings. And something that really fucks with serial killers is when unexpected things happen, because that's when chaos can be sown, when plans can be fraught and fucked up. And Tobias is like, were you expecting somebody? And Hannibal's like, no, I was not. This is bad, but it's not bad because it's Will coming to him. This is an excellent scene. It's made fun of so much in all the lore, but it is so fun for so many reasons. Will Graham busts into Hannibal's house and is like, I just kissed Alana Bloom. Something to note, Hannibal's very shocked by this, but this is Will coming to his house not because he wants his help on a case, but because he wants his help as a friend. This is the first time that we're seeing them kind of not the first time, but it's like another time of seeing them kind of bond as friends. And I think Hannibal likes it a little bit, but in this moment he is already got some bad news about Tobias wanting to kill him or expose him. So that bad thing already happened. And then Will busts into his house. That part he likes, but it's unexpected. So he's nervous about him finding Tobias, but also he kissed Alana, which is not something that's going to make him happy. So Hannibal's having the worst night of his life right now. Just so many terrible things are happening. Oh, he might be exposed as a serial killer. Oh no, this man that I am kind of into kissed our colleague, who is a woman. Boo. And then drove an hour to come see me to tell me. Like, but Hannibal has to go deal with it. Tobias is gone. He's able to cover that up very seamlessly. Oh, he had to leave on an urgent request. He couldn't finish his dinner, but that benefits you, Will, because I have dessert for 2. These men are so dramatic. I love the scene where Hannibal is preparing this dessert for him and Will in the kitchen, and he's like very innocently asking Will questions about Alana. I have done this before too. I feel like a lot of us have, where you're trying to stay as calm as possible and not act affected by what's happening, but you want all the tea. So you have to just be like, so how does that make you feel? What did she say? Specifically, tell me the exact words. Will's like, she said we wouldn't be good for each other. And Hannibal's like, I agree. How convenient. He's right, but how convenient. He's like, oh, she would always be studying you and you would hate it. Right. Correct. And even Will agrees. He's like, I know. He's like, why did you kiss her then? It's a very sweet little moment. And he goes, why did you kiss her? And then why did you drive an hour in the snow to tell me about it? Yeah, those are very good questions. I'm glad we're asking them, Hannibal. Somebody needs to be asking them. In this like slutty little vest outfit, Will just showed up. Oh, the snowy weather is so cozy. These scenes are actually incredibly romantic for me. Like they're cozy, they're warm, the snow is falling. He's baking him this like little dessert. And he's like, tell me why you wanted to. Tell me everything about this impulse you had. And then he explains the hearing the animal in the chimney, breaking through the wall to get it out, slowly losing his mind. And Alana showed up and looked at him, and he wanted to kiss her. What did she know, Will? She knew there was no animal in my chimney. She knew I was crazy. He's like, I sleepwalk, I have headaches, I hear crying animals in my house. Something's happening. He feels unstable. That's why you kissed her. A clutch for balance. Watching Hannibal prepare dessert in a full suit is fascinating. It's hot. I would spill everything all over myself. And Hannibal's like, do you still hear the killer's serenade? And he's like, I don't fucking know. Hannibal's having a bad day, but he sees a chance. Oh my God, Will looks at him like a puppy dog, but Hannibal's like, I'm tattling. I think I know who that killer is. The violin killer, the cello killer. Telling Will about Tobias and about what Franklin said in therapy is interesting in so many ways. It is a test for Will, first and foremost. Tobias failed his test for a friend. Can Will pass it? It is a different test. Can he catch this killer, right? But it's also a punishment for Will for kissing Alana. We know that if the police go to investigate Tobias is going to kill them. He said it. So Hannibal is intentionally sending Will into the clutches of someone that's going to try to kill him. And I think it is because he is pissed about the Alana thing, but it's also a test, because if he comes out on the other side, if he survives, then maybe Will is the friend he is looking for. Maybe it's not Tobias, maybe it is Will Graham, but he's pissed. And also he needs to like test him. So I think that's why he's like, you should go check him out, to help him, but also it is to hurt him too, potentially. And Hannibal doesn't say perhaps like the cops should interview him. He's like, you should interview him. He is throwing the dice into the face of fate and just kind of seeing where it ends up. And to confirm that, the next scene is Hannibal having therapy with Bedelia again. And he's like, I think I found someone I want to be friends with. Will Graham. Hannibal's like, I found someone that's like me. I'm curious about him. I don't want to be his friend. But I think I found someone that I do want to have in my life. Will Graham. And Bedelia's like, Will Graham. Hannibal says he's nothing like me. Will is nothing like me. He sees the world in totally different ways. But he can fall into my point of view. And Bedelia clocks him immediately. He's like, oh, he can understand you because he profiles the criminally insane because you're the criminally insane. She sees right through him from the beginning, and it's just one thing I really love about Bedelia, because it's nice to have someone that sees through the bullshit and can kind of anchor us as an audience. And she always hits him kind of like treating him like a baby. She's like, oh, it's always nice when we can be seen, Hannibal. She says it requires trust. And like I said, Tobias broke that trust by being like, I'll tell on you if you do the wrong thing. Someone has to be worthy of Hannibal's friendship, says Bedelia, and he agrees. You spend a lot of time building walls, Hannibal. It's natural to want to see if someone is clever enough to climb over them. I love that line. So this is that's Will's test, to climb over this wall, to survive this scenario, to be chosen by Hannibal as a friend. And then unfortunately we see Will going to the string shop to talk to Tobias and interrogate him. Tobias says Baltimore is a small town and the cultural arts community is even smaller. He's right, but we have an amazing music and arts, just like culture in Baltimore, and it's definitely worth checking out. We do Artscape every year. We have great museums. We do have the BSO. We have stand-up comedy. We have punk shows, like a lot of underground punk is in Baltimore. So that is an accurate representation. We have a really nice art scene, even though it is small. And Tobias is like, oh, my catgut? There, we get them from Italy. So Will is interrogating Tobias kind of casually in his shop. And then Will hears shrieking and moaning and like a car crash in the back. But it doesn't appear like Tobias hears it. And Will's like, hold on, you don't hear that? And then runs outside to see what's going on and is kind of having like hallucinations and is having a moment of instability in the middle of the street. And now it has turned into an animal shrieking, and Will's searching around the street to find it, and there's nothing there. And he pops in some more aspirin. And Will goes back into the store and realizes everything's really quiet. The vibe has shifted. Oh, I'm in danger. Turns out Tobias killed the two cops like he said he was going to. We see the first one dead with this like metal spike in his throat in the upstairs. But Tobias is nowhere to be found, and neither is the other cop. So Will's like, shit. And then Will goes down into the basement, which I think is a crazy thing to do. I don't know if y'all saw Inglourious Basterds, but you don't fight in a fucking basement. Like, use some common sense. Why are we going somewhere where we can't get out? But Will goes into the basement with his gun out, and we see he's more confident with the gun now. Also good to note that we're seeing this more confident version of himself emerge. The basement is, of course, a serial killer basement. He makes catgut gun down there, but it's also lots of human body parts he finds. And Will's like, yep, this is him. He has his glasses on, his shield. And then we see the second cop, who was basically garroted with steel wire. Is that the way you pronounce that? If it's not, my bad. Tobias sneaks up from behind and gets Will Graham, but Will is pluckier than the cops and is able to put his hands in front of his face so the steel wire can't get him and can't choke him. Tobias tries his best. Will's gun goes off. And I don't know if it hits Tobias in the head. I don't think so, but it definitely blows his eardrum, which disorients him and causes him to run. Also, I forgot to mention earlier, but you hear Will call the cops. So we know that the cops are on the way, which is just smart. So Tobias has to get the fuck out of there, and he's not able to kill Will. Pan back down to Franklin and Hannibal in their therapy session, where Hannibal is firing him. And Tobias is like, I have been fired 9 times from 9 therapists. That's insane. It is insane. If 9 therapists fired me, I don't even know what I would do. I wouldn't go back. And Franklin's like, you lost respect for me because I wouldn't report Tobias, huh? And then Tobias shows the fuck up. And we do see that Will shot him in the ear, and he is bleeding from the ear, but it's just like the cartilage. Tobias then reveals to Franklin that he committed these crimes, and Franklin goes into this like long-winded speech about how we can reform you and how you can do better. And Hannibal's just watching, you know, he's having the best time, but he's also probably a little scared. But Hannibal's the most excited when he's facing death directly, whether it be himself or through others. So keep that in mind. Tobias says to Hannibal, I just killed 2 men. And you can see Hannibal's face. He's scared. He's like, oh my God, Will died. Because he doesn't know how many people went to go talk to the cops. So he's assuming that everyone that was there died. And he's scared and he's upset about it. Tiny expressions, but it's there. And Hannibal's like, Franklin, please leave. Please leave. And Tobias says, I don't fucking think so. Hannibal's in the background of the shot. He's not the one in control. You can kind of feel that, which is something he's not used to. Him and Tobias might not be friends, but they are very formidable opponents. I wouldn't say equals, but he has a chance of beating him, you know. And Hannibal can sense that he is not the strongest one in the room by a lot, you know, like he usually is. Poor Franklin, he's an idiot. And then Hannibal comes and snaps his neck. He snaps Franklin's neck. Oh my God. While he enjoyed Franklin, Tobias was about to reveal himself to Franklin. So revealed Hannibal to Franklin. So he couldn't be alive anymore. That's it. It's just like a means to an end. He enjoyed him, but no longer. And now him and Tobias are on this kind of even playing field as well, because now Tobias has seen Hannibal kill somebody again and knows he's the real deal. You know, like he sees it in person. He saw it on that dark road, but now to see it again up front, in front of his face and for him. And Franklin is just dead on the floor. And also, Tobias wanted to kill him. Tobias wanted to kill Franklin. Hannibal stole that kill from Tobias. It was a power move, as well as just necessary. But Tobias is pissed about it. And we get this nice kind of, this fight is excellent. He pulls out this steel wire, I guess, out of his sleeve, and he's kind of swinging it around, and this is his weapon. It's very Kill Bill. And you see that he's good at it. Oh, he's kind of trained in this art of fighting, whatever it is. But so is Hannibal. They are equally matched, and they start fucking fighting in his office. This is something this show does really well, is the fights are choreographed really beautifully. I do think they have an excellent actor in Mads having this dance background. But even Tobias, the actor, is giving a really good fight performance. And you know the stunt doubles, everything is good. It's seamless to me. It's really acrobatic. It's dramatic. It's not just 2 men punching each other. We get the camera kind of like panning around the office, and we're seeing different angles of this fight. Both men are kind of evenly matched. They might get a punch, a stab, a kick, but it is a back and forth. And they're both fighting in suits. Like, it's just so stylistically satiating to me. But then Mads gets his Hannibal gets his moment, and Tobias tries to punch him, and his arm gets stuck in his little book ladder, and Hannibal's able to break Tobias's arm. So now he's only fighting him with one arm, punches him in the throat, and then the piece de resistance. He bludgeons him over the head with his stag. Boom. Oh, and it's so good. Beautiful fight scene. All of the fight scenes in Hannibal are top fucking tier. But then Hannibal walks over to his little, is it his harpsichord? Is that what a harpsichord is? The little piano thing? And then starts playing Bach. Dramatic. Dramatic. Don't ever tell me that women are dramatic again when Hannibal Lecter exists. Okay? The cops show up. They start processing the scene. Jack walks through the door, and then Will walks through the door, and Hannibal's face. Hannibal realizes he didn't die. He survived. The light in his eyes. Oh, Mads Mikkelsen deserved 1 million awards for this acting. It's kind of nuts to me. He looks up at him, the way the shot is lit. God bless the set and the crew and everybody involved in this. His eyes are like, they're lit in a way where they're just lit up. And he looks happy, angelic, covered in blood, almost like he wants to cry, like a Renaissance painting. And Jack's like, why the fuck did he come here? But he has that nice alibi that he can come to kill the patient, which he said he was gonna do. And Will's like, is that who he was serenading? And Hannibal plays dumb, I have no idea. But Will doesn't buy it. I don't think Will fully buys it. You can see him kind of looking around the office. It's odd, but he trusts Hannibal, so I don't think he puts much thought into it right now. But him and Jack both agree that this is an odd case and it's not that simple. And even Will's like, could Franklin have been involved? Because he didn't really know Franklin. So it's easier for him to make a misjudgment of character because he didn't know him. But then this beautiful blocking where Will is sitting on the desk, on Hannibal's desk, kind of looking down at him. He's lit in a way that's almost angelic with the windows behind him. And Will says, I dragged you into my world. Like, he feels bad about it. And Hannibal's like, oh no, Ibby, I got here on my own. I am right where I want to be. But I appreciate the company. And he looks up at him with these like wet eyes. Oh my God, it's the sluttiest scene. It's so slutty. It's beautiful. And Will giggles, and I think their friendship is really solidified in this moment. And Hannibal is like just really in love. And it's excellent. We end the episode with Hannibal and Bedelia in therapy again. Hannibal's like, I think I'm going to start seeing patients again. And you're like, oh, did a lot of time pass? No, a few days. He's just being really dramatic about it. But he's trying to use this incident to get closer to Bedelia and be like, I've been attacked by a patient too now. But even then, Bedelia, you can see her seeing through the bullshit. She doesn't buy anything that comes out of his mouth. He's like, patients will sit where Franklin died and where I almost died. And Bedelia just, you can tell that she's like, okay, don't act like you don't enjoy that. At this point, I think Bedelia realizes she's kind of stuck in therapy with Hannibal, and this is where she starts to realize how exactly dangerous he is. Because being a psychopath and acting on those things and being a murderer are very different. Not that Hannibal's a psychopath, but like if she identifies him as maybe like someone who is into those things, we don't know if he's doing them. Which he keeps bringing up when she was attacked. And now he's like, oh, I have an ally in this. Like, he thinks now that he can talk about his trauma with being attacked by a patient, and now they have to talk about hers in therapy. It's like a manipulation tactic. I don't think it was planned, but I think he sees an opportunity here to keep poking that wound with Bedelia. Hannibal's like, I can't help but feeling responsible for what happened to Franklin. And Bedelia's like, it's not your fault. Everyone's in charge of their own life. And she's like, not even you can take other people's responsibility, baby. Again, she sees right through him. She understands that he has this God complex. And he hits her back with, did you take responsibility when that guy died? Your patient died? And she's like, no. Well, she's like, yes, but not for his death. And Hannibal claps back, nor should you. And you're like, why, Hannibal? Were you involved somehow? It's just this vague mention of this attack that you know you're going to find out more about later. Why did her patient attack her? Was Hannibal involved? Like, you see this like toxicness between them churning. And then the episode cuts. And I've only seen this episode a few times. I think this is the third time that I watched it. It's so good. You know, it's really about Tobias and Alana being like the wrong people for Hannibal and Will, but they are trying them out first. They are trying to find these connections. They are trying to fill the holes in their heart and be seen. And they're picking the wrong people. But at the end of the episode, they come back together. They have picked each other. They have each other to weather the storm. And it's this friendship, connection, love aspect of the show. Like, that's definitely the theme of this episode. So good. Tobias was not someone I really cared about my first watch around, but seeing him be mirrored to Hannibal so closely and making those connections, I was like, oh, this episode is really delicious. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you had a good time here. Again, follow me on TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube, Instagram, Quantifiably Bitchy without the I in bitchy. Next month, we'll be doing episode 9. I hope you guys have a great December, and I will see you in a little bit, okay? Bye.